Crazy law in South Africa. A brand new law in South Africa with the objective of allowing black people to sit in strong positions in every company is being resisted by the DA, this political party. Is it because they want to keep white people monopoly, or is it truly because the law is unfair? Is there anything wrong with allowing black people to sit in power in the same way as white people? We're going to find out about that. And we're going to talk about Mali. Political parties have been banned in Mali. Is this the beginning of dictatorship or the beginning of a new era? We're going to find out about that. What do you think about democracy? Do you think democracy is good all across the board? Or do you think democracy is good in specific areas of life? Would you be Democrat in your house, in your household, your family? Would you allow your children to leave the house and come back whenever they want? I mean, I'm talking about your girls here to come home at 11 in the name of democracy. Daddy, you must be Democrat. You must allow me to do what I want to do. That's democracy. Would you allow your son to speak to your wife in any other sort of way in the name of democracy? Daddy, I'm screaming at my mom because it's democracy. Don't tell me what to do. I'm an adult now. You can't talk to me like that. Would you allow a foreign person or a neighbor or even your cousin to come in the house and put his feet on the table whilst there are food with his stinking feet in the name of democracy and fairness? You do it. Even if it's your house, you wouldn't, would you? Right. Okay. So why is democracy something people implore every time, even when they do wrong? Question mark. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. We're going to be very, very fast. We're going to start here in Mali. Beautiful place, lovely people. Well, in Mali, fellas, the government has suspended all political parties' activities across the country until further notice.
The activities of political parties throughout the country are suspended until further notice for reasons of public order. The suspension measure applies to the activities of political associations and to the activities of other organizations claiming to be political in nature.
I know this doesn't sound good. In most cases, when you talk about a country trying to stop political party, it's usually not necessarily good. Let's find out. The decree was signed on Wednesday by Transitional President Assimi Goïta. He cited reasons of public order and applied to both parties and organizations. Now, what happened? Hundreds of activists last weekend defied government threat by demonstrating in the capital, Bamako, against the bill recommending the dissolution of all political parties. Now, this is very interesting to find out because, number one, it doesn't sound good when a country bans political parties. Now, in this specific case, why are people angry? Political parties are angry because they would like the government of Assimi Goïta to go through election and vote a civilian president. Assimi Goïta, this man right here, he took over power a couple of years ago, overthrowing the previous government. Why did he do that? He did that because the previous government was in bed with the French, economically, politically, socially. So the people of Mali were not benefiting from the rich of Mali, including gold and many other things that they have. But all of this good was sent to France or France companies. So this president came into power, overthrew the previous president, took over the country with the goal of fixing the country. His goal, the African first. Now, political parties are not happy because if you have a military president, you can't process as a political party normally.
We are now in a dynamic of true refusal and arbitrariness. We are in a dynamic of refusal of dictatorship. We are in a dynamic of refusal of single-track thinking. We will continue to express ourselves freely and to help Malians understand what happened so that Mali does not fall any lower than that.
They want him to rush and go through elections because he promised to go through elections. But at this specific time, he said, no, we're going to suspend political parties. What do you feel about this? You think this is the beginning of a dictatorship or not? Now, one could argue that if your house is in trouble and things are not working appropriately, can you stand in front of the house and nobody's getting out today because I feel like things are bad around her? Can you do that as a father, temporarily? Well, let me give an example. In Ukraine, when Russia entered, the Ukrainians stopped political parties from operating that they deemed were pro-Russian. Why? Because it's their country and they can make a decision as they want for their benefit.
Politicians' activities aimed at sowing discord and collaboration are doomed to failure and will be met with a harsh response. Therefore, the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine has decided, given the large-scale war unleashed by the Russian Federation and its ties with certain political structures, to suspend the activities of several political parties for the duration of martial law.
Now, nobody condemned them for doing that. but people are condemning Assimi Goïta from doing this. We have two options here. Do you think Assimi Goïta is doing this for the good of the people? Because the country right now cannot hold elections like everybody wants because they are fighting terrorists on the northern side of the country. It is very difficult and almost impossible to hold elections while fighting terrorists every second day. Is it normal to allow him some time before he get into a place where the country is stabilized and he can go through elections? Can we argue that he can prolong this forever, saying, well, we're still going through difficulties, we need to wait? It's a possibility. Number two, do you think Assimi Goïta, even though initially he came with good ideas, he is perhaps turning into becoming a dictator? Meaning, like it happens to many people, once you get through power and you experience power, you want to keep power. Is that the case of Assimi Goïta? Let me know how you feel about that. And now we're going to Tanzania, fellas. Tanzania, I love that place. Lovely place, lovely people. Beautiful. One of the safest country I've been at. My personal experience. Lovely place. Friendly people, good food. You're going to have a bowl of your life. I can tell you. Tanzania's got a fusion of Arabic and Indian cuisine. Due to its very complex history, it is embedded into the African flavors. It is crazy. The food is amazing. Anyway, in Tanzania, something really happened. I do have a lot of respect for the Tanzanians and the guys. Matter of fact, I was in Tanzania during COVID. I ran away from where I was. I felt like most of the country going through lockdowns, and I felt like, no, I'm not going to leave for this. I flew to Tanzania because it was one of those strongholds that held no lockdown. Tanzania was a free country with Magufuli at the time, and a lot of Europeans went to Tanzania, flooding into Tanzania. We had parties and crazy. It was amazing. Then Magufuli passed, and I was there. It was sad moment, very sad moment. I felt sadness, like it was my own family member that passed away, because he was a smart person. He was a good man. Magufuli fought for the right of the Tanzanians. He refused to force people to take that injection because they conducted tests and saying this doesn't stand the ground. It makes no sense. Many people believe he was unalived because he stood against the power that, same for the president of Burundi at the time, who also was very strong. He opposed the World Health Organization, saying, you're not coming into my country to force on your people. We're not going to accept this. And shortly later, he was unalive. Many people believe. Some people believe it's conspiracy. Some people believe it's not. Anyway, you pull your own conclusion. Now, in Tanzania, a priest has been beaten up really bad. The priest is a critic of the government. Priest Kitima was ambushed by two assailants around 10 p.m. in a dimly lit corridor near TEC headquarters in Karasuni, Dar es Salaam. After stepping out from a cafeteria within the TEC compound, he was struck on the head with a blunt object, sustaining a severe head injury and a deep chin wound, and lost significant blood. So the priest was rushed to hospital at Agan Hospital, where he is recovering in a stable but critical condition. Now, this priest has been very critical of the government, saying the government must hold clear elections. They must change certain things about the electoral process. Tanzania is going through election very, very soon. So a lot of people are standing up and say we need fair and clear, transparent election. Don't manipulate things, because this happens a lot in many African countries, unfortunately. So many critics have been vocal, including this priest. And people are shocked to see that he was attacked. The question is, who attacked him? Who sent people to attack him? Dar es Salaam police arrested one suspect named Rauli Mahabi and are investigating the motive and potential accomplices. Now, what's interesting here is TEC, which is, the ministry, the church. The bishop of TEC, Wolfgang Pisa, refuted police claim that Brother Kitima was drinking alcohol, emphasizing that TEC cafeteria is not a bar and does not serve alcohol. He called the police narrative misleading and implied intoxication. So the question is, if this priest did not drink any beer, why did the police say that he was drinking? What's the intention? I mean, he's the victim. Why would you say the victim was drinking, they hit him, if he wasn't drinking? Again, Kitima has been very vocal for electoral malpractices and many other things. Look, Tanzania is a beautiful place, lovely country. We love it. We don't want to hear things like this. We know the great Magufuli did great things. And if a Magufuli could come out of Tanzania, it means there's a seed of Magufulis in Tanzania. We want freedom, peace, and happiness for the Tanzanian people. We're moving to South Africa. Fellas, in South Africa, something drastic is happening right now. The South African Democratic Alliance, the DA, this political party, which is perceived by many people as white predominant, went to court on Tuesday to challenge the Employment Equity Amendment.
This case is about flexibility. Whatever the state does, government does, to achieve an object that we all agreed with, broad representative of the population. It may not cross the line, may not cross the impermissible line between setting targets or goals, which you hope to achieve in a structured, rational manner.
The DA strongly opposes Section 15A of the new law, which allows a labor minister to introduce numerical targets in some economic sector. This will require businesses with more than 50 employees to ensure their workforce reflects historically disadvantaged groups, including black people, women, and those with disability. So basically, make it very simple. This is a lot of English, and very quickly, for some of us that are not university doctorate, a law was provided by the government, which is run by the ANC, this political party. The ANC is the political party of Nelson Mandela. Remember? Great. Now, the DA is historically known as a predominantly white political party. The ANC has come with a law that would provide black people more opportunities in jobs. How? The law should reflect the demographic of South Africa, meaning there should be more black people in position because there are more black people existing in South Africa in every sector of the jobs. An example, in 2022, 65.9% of top private sector management roles were held by white South Africans, 8% of the population, whilst black Africans, 80% of the population, held only 13.8%. So 65.9% by white people. Strong position, leadership position. And white people are only 8% of the population. And black people only at 13% of the positions. And this law's goal, as per the ANC, is to change this. The law is being fought in court. The DA say it makes no sense, it's racially motivated. The Minister of Employment and Labor is empowered to set binding demographic targets for 18 economic sectors, example, agriculture, mining, construction, finance, to increase representation of designated groups. Now, the law says that business with more than 50 employees must comply by the law. So what's going to happen? Number one, employers must submit employment equity plans by September 1st, outlining how they will meet these targets. So employers must submit the paper to tell the government, this is how we're going to make sure we have more black people, reflecting the demographic of the country. Number two, companies must obtain a compliance certificate from the Department of Employment and Labor to do business with the state. So you must have the certificate or else you're not going to work. Number three, non-compliance or failure to provide justifiable reason to why you did not meet the criteria can result to fine to up to 10% of your annual turnover. So if you do not respect this law, where you have black people in position of power as management in every area of the business, you're going to be fined either 2.7 million rands, 10% of your annual turnover. Now, for you to understand, this is a graphic of the demographic of South Africa. You can see black Africans 81.4%, colored or mixed race 8.2%, white are 7.3%, Indians and Asian are 2% of South Africa. Now in 2023, 40% of black South Africans were unemployed compared to 7.5% of white South African. And the World Bank notes South Africa's highest and the most persistent inequality rate globally. I think you understand what's happening. Basically, the black people in South Africa are trying to get more into position in every area of the company. They want companies that have more than 50 employees to reflect the demographic of the country. It's been faced with challenges. The DA argues that by adopting this law, they will be putting colored and Indians in disadvantaged positions. Why? Because Western Cape, for instance, have a lot of population of colored. Now, if you have to respect this law based on a national account, if you have to hire 80% of black people in Western Cape, where the great majority have colored people, you are going to be forced to reduce job and employment for the colored people. Same for KwaZulu-Natal. Obviously, you probably don't know, in South Africa you have black people and colored. They're not exactly as the US. No, black people are black like this, a little bit like me, and colored people are more brownish looking for the most cases. You find dark ones, but for most cases. Now, colored people, many of them trace their DNA through Asia and many other places. A legal challenge. The Democratic Alliance launched a legal challenge on May 6, arguing the law is unconstitutional and discriminatory and could deter foreign investment. This is what the DA leader Ellen Diller said.
Section 9.2 says there is such a thing as fair discrimination to redress the legacy of the past. But that is not a blunt instrument. Any discrimination that is deemed to be fair has to be proved to be fair. You can't just do anything in the name of redress and claim it is fair discrimination.
What are the consequences? The risk are foreign investors may refuse to come to South Africa, saying, well, we're not going to that country. It sounds racist. The second issue is many big companies will subtract their company into small group, making them small businesses that are below 50 employees to try to avoid this law. Number 3, they could register their companies in foreign nations like Mauritius and other places. Trump. The US government under Donald Trump has criticized the law as racist, threatening to cut aid and support white Afrikaners' relocation, escalating diplomatic tension. That's what it is, fellas. Do you think South Africa, the ANC, South Africa, is doing the right thing by trying to represent demographics, allow black people to stay in position of power? Now, some people argue, why would you hire somebody based on his race if he's not qualified? Why would you just give them position? Because sometimes you need critical skills for certain position. Should you just allow people because they went through pain in the past? Let me know how you feel about that. It was a great pleasure. God bless.